How much of that confidence just comes with experience and just getting more game reps?
A lot of it definitely, and from the work as well. I continuously work on my game a lot, especially during the off season and still to this day. So just working on my game a lot gives me a lot of confidence, and with the along with the experience from last year playing in those big games.
Thanks, Kai.
Nick, you're up.
Yeah, I think you've missed maybe 4 shots this season, 4 or 5 shots. Looks like you're taking good shots, making good shots, and obviously it helps when you can get up there like that and you're getting lobs. But was that a focus for you this offseason, just on taking smart shots and finding the areas on the court where you're comfortable shooting or posting up or driving?
Yes, sir, for sure. You know, my trainer back home and the coaching staff here always emphasize efficiency. So when I was working out during the off season, that was something I focused on a lot. Like during my workouts, not necessarily how many shots I was making, but what my percentages were. So yeah, it was something that was always in my mind, just taking good shots. And then I feel like in the game, it translates. When you take those good shots, your field goal percentage is going to be very high.
And obviously the team that y'all are playing on Sunday doesn't give up that many field goals. It's one of the toughest defensive teams that y'all are going to face all season. What challenges do they present? What are you seeing? How excited are y'all for this matchup?
Oh, we're really excited as a team. I think it's an amazing opportunity to play a team as good as them. They're one of the best teams in our league and in the nation. So it's going to be good to go up against them and show that we can play on that level. I think the biggest thing for me in my mind is just crashing the offensive glass. I feel like I can impose my will there a lot this game.
Go ahead, Dustin.
Kai, Shaka mentioned that in terms of your growth over the last calendar year, you've grown as much as anybody that he's had. Why do you think that is? What's allowed you to experience that growth, both mentally and in terms of your skill and development? Because that's not something that's easy for guys that are coming off of a solid freshman season and they have those big aspirations their sophomore year.
For sure. The biggest thing for me was just to continue working. I understood that I was in a good position, but still to this day, I don't feel like I'm near where I want to be. So that motivates me every day to want to get better. Like I never feel satisfied. So I'm always able to just keep striving and reaching for that goal I'm trying to reach. And then mentally, to me, I just started to get lost in the present more. I matured as a young man just through experiences in life, reading. So I've had a lot of growth as a person and just self looking within and starting to realize who you really are. And that was big for me over the quarantine as well. And that kind of helped my maturation process in terms of just growing up as a man mentally. And then physically, obviously, God blessed me with a lot of gifts, and I'm able to really work on my talent a lot. So that's kind of how it happened, or
How
how it
much
even happened.
how much of you guys, especially you guys in the front court, heard the word rebounding heading into this matchup against Baylor?
A lot, a lot. We've been hearing it all year. That's been an emphasis for us every game, every practice. So
And when you guys are watching tape, especially you big guys, do you kind of talk amongst each other like, hey, there's some ones coming off the rim that we can probably get more, especially maybe on the offensive end?
yes, sir. That's the area I'd like to improve in a lot for me individually and for us as a team. We're working on it every day, but I feel like we can be a lot more violent on the glass, especially me.
Got time for the last ones in the queue. Go ahead, Brian.
Yeah, Kai, you were on. To go back to Nick's question for a second, you were on a roll, and then one of your misses was a clang off the alley oop. I mean, do you need to work on your dunking? Do you need to practice dunking more?
I've been working on it.
You've been working on it a lot.
Yeah, just working on getting in the gym with the guards and working on that chemistry.
That's good. But this was something I thought that was really interesting. You talked about just the confidence of growing, and especially in your catch and shoot. It doesn't look like you have any hesitation right now. How do you grow that? How do you grow catch and shoot confidence?
To me, it comes through work and reps. Just telling yourself that it's gonna go in. You can't second guess yourself. Once you put in a certain amount of work, I feel like in your mind you always remember all those makes, and it's just a repetition thing. I feel like the more I do something, for me personally, I get more and more confident with it. I've been like that all my life. So before I came to Texas, I didn't really have to focus on catch and shoot as much as I did, like just being ready on the catch to let it fly.
Yep.
So once I realized that was something I really needed to emphasize, I just started working on it more and more.
Cool.
Go ahead, Nick.
Yeah, I'm curious. Coach Smart has mentioned it a few times this year, just in terms of y'all setting the screens, how important actually, the angle of the screen is. And you mentioned with Jericho. I mean, how important is that little subtle thing that probably a lot of us aren't paying attention to, just setting the screen with the right angle, making sure that you give yourself a good launch path to the rim, or just making sure your body's in the right spot.
Yeah, the details are very important, especially at this level, because the players have more talent and they're stronger and they're faster. So those little things can make a huge difference in the long run. So the screening angle is important because it allows the guard not to be able to get under that screen. So when you get that back pocket, you get your guard a downhill angle, which also can open up the rim for you because now the big has to stay longer and you get a better running angle to the rim. So it's good for the big and the guard. That's kind of why we emphasize that so much. It's really important.
All right, last one for Kai. Go ahead, John.
Okay, you talked about you guys being excited about playing a team like Baylor to show that you can compete. What makes you feel like you guys can compete with a team like that?
Just through the practices we've had and the work we've put in. And also I say this a lot, the confidence we have in our guys. We know they have really good players and we know we have some really good players over here as well. And I feel like when we're at our best, we can compete with anybody. So they're a really good team and I'm excited to go against them. That's kind of why I feel like we can play with them.
Matt, I don't know if there's any better way to start it off than to take on the preseason pick to win the league.
Yeah.
What have you told these guys about Baylor and Maceo Teague and all those guys that you're going to see and Butler and whatnot? What's been your thought? What conjures up in your mind when you think Baylor?
It's nothing that really needs to be said from my end because we have everybody coming back, as in they do as well. We know that both times we played them last year that we were in the game with them, that we competed. We just didn't finish down the stretch. But it's just there's got to be like an edge and a sense of urgency to just doing the little things and the details and everybody taking pride in doing their part. So as a collective team, a collective group, we can come out with a win in Waco. So
Jeff, you're up.
Hey, Matt, Shaka mentioned the other night after the Texas State game, he was talking about your leadership and Courtney's leadership playing a big role in getting you guys through some of the rough spots. I was just wondering for you, how does the process of being able to positively impact a game, a game where you only take 6 shots and only scored 5 points, of being able to have a positive impact on the game when you're not scoring a lot of points, how does that process play out as you get older?
In games like in any game, I want my teammates to play well because it makes me look better. And in a game like that, I wasn't focused and toned in on see how many points I can get. I was trying to make my teammates better and doing what I could do to just have my impact on the game. And I think what I did well is just play defense, on the defensive side of the ball and just disrupt their offensive stuff and just allowing my presence to just feed off everyone else.
Go ahead, Nick.
Yeah, Matt, you and Courtney have, had your moments this year and y'all have been kind of trying to lead the team and steady the ship there. What do y'all need to do to get Andrew going a little bit more? Is that just a matter of time, just him kind of finding his sea legs sort of deal?
Just we keep trusting him. We're going to keep trusting him. We believe in him. We know what he's capable of. Just like Greg, I think it was good for Greg to see the ball go in last game. For him to continue his confidence and continue to grow and just him having his swagger. Same thing with Drew. We're not going to turn our shoulder or turn our head on him. We believe in him, and like I believe it's going to click. You know what I'm saying? It's going to click.
Yeah, man. Like you said, y'all have had your battles with Baylor over the last few years. Y'all know what you're to expect here. The only guy that hasn't been there with you yet is Greg.
Yeah.
So what do you tell him? How do you make sure that he's prepared for the physicality and the beating that's going to be going back and forth?
I think just playing hard in your effort supersedes everything. We know that just a collective team, Baylor is really good. And when you talk about their guard play, then you talk about like a guy like Mark Vital, who's going to test you every possession, that you got to be able to match that. You have to match that. So you're just telling a guy like Greg Brown, Kai Jones, and you match their intensity, match their energy. Let's try to be better on this possession, one possession at a time. And if you can be better one possession at a time, then those possessions add up, and a little plus a little eventually becomes a lot.
Go ahead, Dustin.
Yeah, defensively, man, I know you're obviously up for every game and you want to play well, but from the defensive end, do you get a little bit more excited when you have one of these types of challenges, when you've got that backcourt with its reputation going against, you guys that experienced backcourt as well? I mean, at this point, you've played against a bunch of big time guards throughout your career, but you get a little more amped up. And is it easier to get kind of lost in the game because you're so focused on your defense in this type of matchup?
Yeah, for me, I use the defense end of the ball in any way possible to try to get me going. And then like in a matchup like this, you respect them, you know what they're capable of, and you're just trying to find any way possible, if that's through scouting, through watching film, to find ways where I can be good on the defensive side of the ball for allowing my team to get extra possessions, or just being a catalyst for myself and for the team.
And heading into a matchup like this, do you almost like tell yourself even more that I've got to make my voice heard on the court? Like I've got to make sure I'm always talking.
I mean, I try to go in with that mindset every game. But it's this first game of conference, so there's going to be a mixture of emotions, and feelings and thoughts, and how individually we want to play, and then how as a team we want to play and present ourselves. So it's just having a positive mindset, and like you don't want to be brand new. You don't want to, do some things that you never work on, or things that we don't do every day in practice. So, but you want to continue to having our identity, but just turn it up a little bit. Yeah.
All right, got time for one more. Go ahead, Roger.
Hey, Matt, what's it been like now that you're adjusting to the either Asheville, no fans, limited fans, just such an unusual environment? You know what Waco would be like under normal circumstances Sunday.
Yeah.
How has that kind of changed the game a little bit?
I think the biggest thing I always say for myself, I was like, there's no reason why we shouldn't hear each other talking on the floor. But you still get those, it's somewhat, you feel like it's a scrimmage just because of you don't have that sixth man, you want to say, for the fans. But when you're just playing and you don't even think about it, you're worrying about, you're focusing and dialed in on just, being better that possession, or, making a play. You don't get the extra, lift or from the crowd as you would if it was, more field. But when you're playing, you're just so lost in the game that sometimes you don't even recognize it.